What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing very, very well. We're going to talk about Windwalker Monk and the 10.2 tier set bonus and potential talent changes you might want to make depending on where the tier set bonus is going to push us in terms of our build. We'll talk about that. I'm going to do some testing on the dummies. I am going to be testing on these dummies right here. I know it's really busy. I just want to make sure that I'm able to highlight the fact that we can do touch of death damage. I've done a couple of different tests. So I've done one with like an AoE damage test without having touch of death present, and then one with touch of death. And of course it ends up adding like about 50 to 60k DPS. So it's pretty insane, right? So I want to make sure that we add that because that is a large part of my build still. I'm still running like Forbidden Technique and Fatal Flying Guillotine. So but I do want to talk about the new talent, the new tier set bonus, and potentially adding in some old abilities that we used to have, like Whirling, Dragon Punch. Let's just dive right into this. They made some modifications to this tier set bonus. This tier set bonus used to proc off of your auto attacks, and thank God Blizzard finally woke up again and stopped it from being based on auto attacks, because it was like that in Season 1 of Dragonflight, and I don't know why they keep making tier set bonuses that are based off of auto attacks, because if you know anything about a Windwalker Monk, when you're doing Fists of Fury and when you're doing Spinning Crane Kick, I believe, you're not auto attacking during those moments, so it doesn't really make any sense at all. So they fixed it. Free Spinning Crane Kicks grant Blackout Reinforcement, increasing the damage of Blackout Kick by 150%. Your melee abilities, all your other melee abilities, can also give you Blackout Reinforcement. So Blackout Reinforcement can come from any melee ability or a free Spinning Crane Kick, which means you really have to take Dance of Chi-Ji. Not that you weren't taking it anyway. You're pretty much always taking this, but you have to take this now, okay? Because this gives you a free Spinning Crane Kick, okay? That's step one. That's the 2-piece. The 4-piece. Blackout Reinforcement Empowered Blackout Kicks. So when they're empowered, they reduce the cooldown of Fist of Fury, Rising Sun Kick, Strike of the Windlord, and Whirling Dragon Punch by 3 seconds. So basically, whenever you get a proc on Dance of Chi-Ji, okay, or your other melee abilities at any time are going to make your next Blackout Kick, this one right here, do extra damage and reduce the cooldown on all of your major CDs by 3 seconds. That's actually pretty strong, because Windwalker Monk really just wants to get back to all of their little mini cooldowns, right? You've got things like Strike of the Windlord. We have Whirling Dragon Punch. You have your main spender, Fist of Fury, and then Rising Sun Kick, of course. And then you have a little bit bigger cooldowns like Invoke Zuen, and then your major cooldown being Serenity, or, of course, you could take Storm, Earth, and Fire. I think this works better with Serenity, okay? So these are all going to be cooling down based on your Blackout Kick. And from what I've seen, my Blackout Kick is doing quite a bit of damage now as well, right? So it's doing 8.7 plus 6.3. That's 9 plus, that's 15% of our damage, right? So it goes right below Fists of Fury. It's doing a lot of damage, okay? Which is really great. Now, the way that this kind of plays is a little bit, not scary. Scary is the wrong word, but you need to be careful with the way that you're playing this. If Windwalker Monk has too much cooldown reduction on their abilities, then you don't have enough time to generate chi to use those abilities that you're cooling down. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to have too much cooldown reduction, or else you literally can't use the abilities quick enough, because they're coming back off cooldown, but you're like, oh my god, I don't have enough resources to actually press the ability. So there's a fine line, as is always the case with Windwalker Monk. You're kind of walking this fine line between making sure that you can press a different ability every single time. You don't, because of your mastery, right? You want to make sure that you're not repeating any of your abilities. And then you want to make sure that you can use all of these cool cooldowns that you've got, these nifty cooldowns that do a lot of damage. You want to use these things and not have them sitting off cooldown for a long period of time. So I'm going to try and do this to the best of my ability. I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like on the DPS meters here. It does a lot of damage, okay? Let me just say that. It does quite a bit of damage. So, oh, sorry, before I do that, really, really quickly. The talents. Again, you're going to take every Blackout Kick talent that you can, especially Teachings of the Monastery, because it makes your Blackout Kick strike additional enemies. And again, this new tier set bonus is going to buff our Blackout Kick by 150%. That's a lot of extra damage. I'm going to try and take Whirling Dragon Punch. I'm going to drop Feline Stomp, As much as I really want to try Phalanx Stomp, it just wasn't working quite as well. We're going to pick up Whirling Dragon Punch. We're not going to take Bone Dust Brew. I did try a couple of builds with Bone Dust Brew. Did not like it at all. It might be okay. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but I didn't like it at all. I'm taking Whirling Dragon Punch. We're going to take Invoker's Delight. We're going to take a bunch of Zuen stuff here, okay? And we're going to get a lot of haste during the time when Zuen is up. And then that's about it. We have Strike of the Windlord and Whirling Dragon Punch. Those are the main two abilities that you're trying to cool down because they actually have cooldowns. Whirling Dragon Punch is 20 seconds. Strike of the Windlord is 40. This 3-second cooldown reduction, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that the best you possibly can. Also, you're going to need to get a weak aura for when Blackout reinforcement actually procs, because I don't have one on this version of the PTR. So I'm sorry it's really busy. You're going to have to keep up with me here, but here we go. We're going to jump in. Just watch the DPS meters over here. I'll bring them up a little bit more. We'll bring them right down here so you can see them. Okay? Make sure we're on current. Let's go to current here. There we go. Okay, ready? Here we go. We start out with this, and we go boom into a Fist of Fury. We're going to get our Touch of Death out of the way right away, just because we can. Whirling Dragon Punch, rising, and then we'll do Fist of Fury again. In Serenity, all of our Chi Spenders are free, of course. Okay, we got some cooldown reduction there. There's a free Spinning Crane Kick. So watch this. I'm going to cool down my abilities in a second. I have my Blackout reinforcement thing ready to go. I'm going to use my Blackout Kick right now to get my cooldowns back. Strike of the Windlord is back. Oh, I don't have a target. I'm sorry. Strike of the Windlord. Spinning Crane Kick into a Blackout Kick. That's going to bring back Strike of the Windlord and everything else, of course. Fist of Fury. My Whirling Dragon Punch is almost back. Here we go. We're going to do Rising Sun Kick into Whirling Dragon. And then we're going to try and do Blackout Kicks to reduce the cooldown of everything. If possible, as much as we can. Remember, our melee abilities can reduce the cooldown of everything. Fist of Fury. I haven't got a free Spinning Crane Kick yet, unfortunately. There we go. We got one. So let's do this. We'll do the free Spinning Crane Kick into a Blackout Kick, and we got Whirling Dragon Punch back because of that. Again, and our Strike of the Windlord is back again. This is what you're trying to do. You're trying to just reduce the cooldown on all of your abilities as much as you possibly can. Okay? Here we go. My Touch of Death is back. I'll just get it out of the way. I do want to make sure you can see the Touch of Death damage. Whirling Dragon Punch into a Rising Sun Kick. Free Spinning Crane Kick. We'll do Serenity into our Blackout Kick. Now we're doing lots of damage inside of our Serenity window. Okay. Do a Blackout Kick here to reduce the cooldown of everything. I'm not sure if the proc is up or not, but I'm just assuming it is. Whirling Dragon Punch. Sorry, Strike of the Windlord was back again. Now we do Whirling Dragon Punch, and you can see that's kind of how it works. So you're basically just pressing. You're not doing a really different rotation than you otherwise normally would. It's not that much different, but you are getting this massive cooldown reduction on everything. We'll do Whirling Dragon Punch here. Try to get Strike of the Windlord back. There, we went from 11 to 8. Spinning Crane Kick into a Blackout Kick. We'll get a Strike of the Windlord back, guaranteed. There we go. We'll do a Fist of Fury into another Rising Sun Kick into a Whirling Dragon Punch, and then we're done. Okay? There we go. That's all of our damage. So you're going to see our Blackout Kick here is a lot of our damage. Okay? Obviously, Touch of Death is going to be huge. I wanted to make sure you could see that. If you still want to do a Touch of Death build, it's going to be massive, the amount of damage you can do. I'm only hitting 5 targets there, right? Touch of Death does splash, I believe, to 4 targets. Up to 4 additional, so you're going to get 5 maximum. That's the maximum benefit that you can get out of that. Let me just move my windows back here so it's not triggering me. Fist of Fury is big. Spinning Crane Kick. There's our Blackout Kick again. 7% plus 5. That's about 12% of our damage, right? So it's actually in 3rd place above Spinning Crane Kick. But our Thunder Fist is doing more damage, and our Whirling Dragon Punch is doing more damage because we're casting them more often than we otherwise would. So again, this isn't like mind-blowing. It's not a crazy tier set bonus that makes you really have to think super hard, but there is a little bit to think about here in terms of watching your cooldowns like Strike of the Windlord and Whirling Dragon Punch to see, are they almost off cooldown? Yes, they are. Okay, I'm going to press Blackout Kick to trigger my Blackout Reinforcement to get them back so I can press them again. The more I press them, the more I cool them down, the more I press them, the more damage I'm going to end up doing. So, yeah, we ended up doing 262 on 5 targets. That would be much higher if we had more targets, right? Because Fist of Fury, hits everybody in front of you, right? Spinning Crane Kick hits everybody in front of you. It's reduced beyond 5 targets, but it hits everybody. Strike of the Windlord hits everybody. It is not reduced beyond 5 targets. It just hits all targets nearby. So, and your Thunder Fist, I also believe, yeah, it hits all nearby targets, right? It depends on how many. For each enemy struck, that's right. Thunder Fist discharges upon melee strike. So this scales. This hits all enemies in front of you, this initial Strike of the Windlord. So, Strike of the Windlord, your Spinning Crane Kick, and beyond 5 targets, your Fist of Fury, and your Whirling Dragon Punch, they all hit all enemies in front of you. So, this damage goes way up if you have more than 5 targets. So, just keep that in mind. This is just sort of what you could expect to do on the average pack, pack to pack in Mythic Plus Dungeon. So, I think it's really good. I think it's actually fine. This tier set bonus is good. It's not sort of mind-blowing, but it's good. And it does give you a little bit more to think about. I don't know if it's better off to take it with something like Feline Stomp. I experimented with Feline Stomp, and I did less damage overall. I experimented with Bone Dust Brew. I did less damage overall. So this is the setup to me that that has given me the most success. Getting cooldown reduction on Zwen. A lot of talent points here are focused on Zwen because if you go to Feline Stomp or if you go to Bone Dust Brew, then you don't do as much with Zwen. But if you don't go either one of these routes, then really the only thing left for you to do is to go down the middle of the tree and get the Zwen buffs. This is actually especially good. The 33% haste, you just go really, really fast when he's out, and you're getting those cooldowns. Your first combo with Zwen and Serenity is really crazy. That burst window is massive, okay? So I think it's good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I would say in 10.2, I think that this tier set bonus is absolutely fine for Windwalker Monk, especially going into Mythic Plus. When we think about Raid, it's also actually fine because this cools down Strike of the Windlord, which does a lot of extra damage even on single target, and it cools down your Rising Sun Kick as well, which is your primary DPS ability in single target. I think I did a little single target test. Where was it? I did about 100k overall. It was the turn up. Yeah, I did a little bit less than 100k, but again, it's because I couldn't run away. This was basically with an AoE setup. So imagine I did 94k as if I was doing it to a boss in a Mythic Plus dungeon. And again, this is with no external buffs. This is with no lust. This is with a primarily AoE focused build. That's with this build right here. I did about 94k on single target. Again, there's a lot of variables here. Please. This is the PTR. Don't take this as if it's like, oh, Windwalker sucks because it's doing really, really bad damage. It's like, this is all probably going to change by the time this goes live. And I'm just testing this to sort of get an idea, a feel for the experience of what does this feel like to play? Does it function well? What kind of build works well with this new tier set bonus? That's what we're trying to look at today. Not so much just about the numbers. I think the numbers are fine. They're fine from what I've seen in my testing of all these other specs that I've tested. This is doing just fine. Don't worry about the numbers. Does it feel good to play? Yeah, it feels fine. You have to pay attention a little bit more to your cooldowns to try and make sure that you can get them back quickly and use them again so you can do more damage. That's the idea behind this entire tier set. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you. Do you like the direction they went with the Windwalker tier set bonus? I'm happy that they at least fixed it so it's not based on auto attacks now. That's a really big deal, but we'd love to hear from you guys as well. Thank you so much again for watching. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.